News 4 at 11 begins with breaking news.
Rebound, score! It's Eller! It's 4-3 Capitals!
Stanley Cup champions. You can breathe tonight, Caps fans. There is no disappointment this year.
Does that have a ring to it? The Washington Capitals, for the first time ever, will get their names etched in history on the Stanley Cup. You're looking live, the reaction, the pandemonium here in Washington. It's a party, folks, like we haven't seen in decades in this town. They are coming home, and they are bringing that giant cup right back here. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Hadley.
And I'm Doreen Genso. We've been watching this crazy scene downtown outside the arena for the last few minutes, and it is crazy. We want to start right here at home. Doug, camera Leon Harris, live outside Capital One Arena in the midst of that celebrating crowd. We don't know if they can hear us or not.
Guys, worn out.
Oh, we hear you. We hear you. No problem at all. Hello, everybody.
They hear you. Can you hear them?
We did it.
We did it. We did it. We did it. Oh. You can forget Mount Kilauea. We had an eruption here. When that buzzer finally sounded, this place just went absolutely nuts. Unlike anything I've ever heard before.
Yeah, and you hear it right now. All day long, the last couple of days, it has been, we want the cup. We want the cup. Right now, it's, we got the cup. We got the cup. We got the cup. We got the cup. Oh, I'll tell you, this is just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
And I'm telling you, everybody is now making their way down F Street, heading towards where the real nexus of the people are, over on 7th. This place went from almost nothing to completely overflowing with people in just a matter of a minute or so. And they're still coming in. They're still coming. Look at this exodus coming down here.
If you can see what we see, guys, you see it back here. Hey, we're next to another stage right here, another NBC stage that's going to go on in just a second. That's why we got so many people out here behind us. I mean, we got everybody up here. They put up the small guys. They always put up the small guys. Yes, I love it. I love it. I can't tell you the excitement that is down here right now. I hope you can feel it at home, because that's exactly what we want you to feel. We've been seeing it all day.
If you know someone who's hanging out here tonight, don't expect to see them at work tomorrow. It's not going to happen. This is just one of the most raucous, most just joyful scenes I think this city has seen in God knows how long. This is really something that's amazing. You know, now we're not exactly in the middle of everything. We're on the fringe, but we're still knee-deep in it. Shamari Stone is actually over near the viewing screens that they had set up over at 8th and G in the literally in the middle of this maelstrom. Let's check in with him and see how things are where he is.
Excited.
It is so loud out here that these folks it's just hard to hear because it is so many people. You can see them right here. They are so excited that the Caps are now Stanley Cup champions. Tell me, how are you feeling?
It's absolutely incredible. We're so happy to win the cup. Woo! DC victory!
Many of them have waited years for this. One guy said that he waited 40 just waiting for the moment. When Ovechkin held up the Stanley Cup, they were just ecstatic. Go right over there. You can see that there are thousands of people extending from here at 9th and G all the way to the Capital One Arena. There are still people coming out of the Capital One Arena. I saw one man in tears. I said, "Why are you crying?" He said, "Because you don't understand. I've been coming game to game to game waiting for this moment." Well, it is here right now on June 7th, 2018. Come here for a second. How are you feeling?
I haven't been here since I was 6 years old, but I feel like I won the world right now. Disney World.
This guy says he's going to Disney World. I tell you, I wish Jim Vance was here to see this. He would be so happy right now. I'm sure he's here in spirit, smiling down from heaven. Look at all these folks. Let me see this thing here. This guy made a Stanley Cup. It says Caps on it. Wave the cup. Here you go. That's it, guys. Back to you.
All right, Shamari, thank you. He came through. Boy, we said deafening first. He was dancing on Saturday and Monday. I don't think there's room to dance down there. It's body to body.
They're all crammed in there. Just look at that scene. This is a live picture from Chapter 4, another rare view tonight, flying over the nation's capital in what's normally restricted airspace. But there's so many people down there. It's great to have that overhead view.
Just spectacular. And take a look earlier at some of the ground shots. We had fans reacting to all the Capitals' goals tonight. 4. One of those goals was Lars Eller. How much do we love him?
He's
tonight,
our new best friend, Lars. That's right. We always liked him, but now we really like him.
Now we just love him.
That's right.
So what happened in Vegas, you know it ain't staying there, folks.
That's true. That's where Lindsay Czarniak joins us from the big celebration. Pat Collins is outside the arena. He's got more about.
Suited
oh, it's a sad
still.
scene where you are, Pat. Sorry to see that, but you're looking good, buddy.
Well, it is sad here because most of the people here are, of course, Golden Knights fan. It was very disappointing for them. But for Washington's fans, the misery is over. Decades and decades of disappointment erased tonight here in Las Vegas as the Washington Capitals soccer franchise finally gets a Stanley Cup. Scores and scores of Cap fans made it out here for the game because they wanted to see this for themselves. This is what they were saying a few minutes ago. Tell me what it's like finally.
I'll tell you what, it's been a long time coming. Most of these guys have been around D.C. for about 20 years. I've been through a lot of ups and downs. To finally bring one home, best feeling of my life. Best feeling of my life, son. This is D.C. at its finest. Everyone's back on fight the same fight.
That's video from earlier. Pat's got to be a little bit careful. You notice he went down to kind of a whisper there.
Yeah,
he's in enemy territory.
Very little red. He was smart to wear all that white. Pat Collins, thanks so much. Those people you talked to, you know, they spent money to go out to Vegas. Was that well spent
they're
or
coming
what?
home happy.
On history. We
Yes,
made it tonight.
indeed.
Dave Johnson, let's get a little perspective from you. He joins us now. What an aggressive game tonight. They were attacking on both sides. This was a different Golden Knights team tonight.
Well, they came out. They were desperate, the Golden Knights. But I always knew we'd have a sports hero in this town named Lars. I know that was going to come at some point. But this is something we talked about. We looked at each other like, wait a minute, we really did it. And we kept looking at these pictures. We're looking at these pictures now, and that's helping us to process what just happened because I really didn't believe that the Capitals won the Stanley Cup until I got this text telling me I could buy official merchandise. Until that came through, I didn't quite process.
Well,
because
listen, Caps fans have been disappointed a lot over the years.
Well, and that's been the story of this team. In some ways, as we talked about, their first year, as Doc Emmerich mentioned on the broadcast, only had 8 wins. Their first road win was until March of '75, and they hoisted a trash can around the locker room, and that was their Stanley Cup. So until this Stanley Cup, that was probably the only Capitals trophy, was a trash can in a locker room in Oakland, California. Against a team that no longer exists, the California Golden Seals. To put it in perspective, 1982, they had to have a Save the Caps campaign to keep this franchise in town. Then came playoff disappointment against the Islanders. Do I mention the Pittsburgh Penguins? Yeah, we had some playoff disappointment about that. And then I think disappointment became a part of the DC sports DNA. And that's why we were looking at each other tonight like, do I mention the Pittsburgh Penguins? Yeah, we had some playoff disappointment about that. And then I think disappointment became a part of the DC sports DNA. And that's why we were looking at each other tonight like,
wow.
Is it real?
Wow.
Did that
this
really happen? because we were not conditioned for a cup. But this team and this game tonight, they were down 3-2 going to the final period, the Stanley Cup final. And the journey that these players and coaches are on, you know, these are, as Lindsay so eloquently talked about, their dreams that start on ponds and rinks and continues in hallways and basements and then through, you know, bus rides and hotels and a lot of long nights when you think this is going nowhere. And the Capitals certainly, for many years, it felt like it was going nowhere, including this year. and now we have this. And then you look at that sea of red in our city. You know, a city that often is so divided suddenly is connected, and people are actually talking to each other. That's the other thing I've noticed.
In Washington, D.C.
In Washington, D.C. I mean, we're no longer just focusing on our text and our phone. We're actually communicating, and I think, and Doreen, you worked in Cleveland. You understand this.
Rooting for a loser?
Well, yes. But the point is how it feels when it turns in. Cleveland has suddenly turned into Believeland.
Yes.
Oh, wait. We got T.J. Oshie on the ice. Let's listen in.
All right.
As a lead as teams past, but man, did we ever come together. It wasn't, Ovi deserved that Conn Smythe, but we didn't have one hero on this team through these playoffs. Everyone chipped in whatever way they could and whatever way they had to get the job done.
What did you feel to raise that cup over your arms?
I've been breaking down for about, I don't know how long we've been out here, but I've been breaking down here, trying to hold the tears back, but this is just the most amazing feeling. I've been working for this for about 27 years, so to finally do it, I don't know, it's a dream come true.
TJ, you talked before about your dream and what that looked like in your mind, so how does the reality match the dream?
Oh, the reality is so much more amazing. You try to prepare yourself, and I think we were all confident that if we came to here tonight and played how we had to play and played as long as we had to get the job done, that we were going to do that. So you prepare. There's things that maybe people don't know. They bring family in, and you gotta kind of prepare for a lot of stuff you don't normally got to prepare for a playoff game, in case you win. But you can never prepare for the feeling of lifting that cup. There's nothing like it. There really isn't.
Who is this win for?
Oh, here we go. Sorry. This win. Sorry. It's gotta be for my family, for my two little girls. I got my name on something now, so they'll know that Dad played hockey when they grew up. Oh man, sorry. For my dad, who has Alzheimer's, that his memory's slipping a little these days. I think this is one memory that it's one memory that I don't think he's gonna forget. Oh, Tavemir's amazing. He doesn't travel very well, and I've been trying to find a good way to get him out all playoffs, and it was kind of the perfect storm to get him in with my aunt and sister out from Seattle. Whew. And I don't know where he's at, but I'm gonna find him here shortly and give him a big hug.
How about because
Congratulations, TJ. All right. Wow, guys, you can see the emotion. TJ was someone who right before this game shared his dream when he was growing up. He said that he used to play hockey with his siblings, and he would dream that he was scoring the game-winning goal in the Stanley Cup. So you can just see, oh, look at this. Come over here. Is that Beagle? With this? This is Jay Beagle, and I can't hear them. He's with his two kids. Beagle's been on this team for, you know that, quite a few years. And we're going to try to sneak right in here. He's the one that talked about this team being different. He said a couple of days ago that this team is unique because they've had so much fun. He said he didn't know what it was that created this new energy, but, they found something in the middle of the year. They've all said it was sometime after Christmas that clicked, and all of a sudden it was like all these guys were playing for one another, not just themselves, and that's made a huge difference. Okay, hold on. Now we gotta...
And I love the way Oshie said he was playing for his family, too, there. I mean, Lindsay, if you didn't get chills after that, I don't know what'll work on you, because it's just proof that you can smile and cry at the same time. That was just incredible.
Tears of joy.
Well, and that's just it. Championship teams here, we often talk about strategy and is a penalty kill this, is a power play that. the reality, championships are made up of a group of individuals who come together and have shared experiences. And I think we all identify with a TJ Oshie because everybody's carrying some kind of pain around, whether it's a family pain or dealing with a health issue. So, well, these guys are stars and lighting the lamp, and they're also dealing with other things and dealing with the same thing that everyone is dealing with, and that's why that crowd behind it's something behind us can share that elation.
And
because
they feel connected to these players.
Yes.
They know them. They know who's got the baby that was just born down the street, like in your neighborhood.
Well, and they also know because TJ Oshie rides the Metro, so they know
exactly.
Him because
They're relatable.
Well. But again, it's the storyline that we all do something in our lives to make a living, to make it happen for our families, and TJ Oshie is no different.
And hearing him talk about his father's challenges with Alzheimer's, and this is something he thinks he'll never forget.
Yeah.
Wow, that's some powerful stuff. And looking at the players with their families, that's what they're thinking about right now.
Again, getting back to why it's how, and this translates. I always say teams are just workplaces, and successful workplaces.
I mean, it's an unbelievable feeling.
I guess we're gonna have,
this year, felt different, and we did it. I can't put it into words.
You talked about the fact that this group, you said it just seemed like everything clicked, right? And it was a different kind of group. So to have that moment when time was winding down and you knew that you guys were Stanley Cup champions, what was going through your mind?
It still doesn't feel real. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It still doesn't feel real. It's an incredible experience. It's awesome.
To have your family here, what was the first thing that your family said to you?
I haven't seen my wife yet even. She just handed me the boys, so I gotta go see it.
That's a good wife, right?
Yes, that's right.
Congratulations,
Thank you
Jay.
very much.
So
Thank you.
And I see Ted Leonsis is around here somewhere. We'll go find him, and we'll be right back, guys.
All right, Lindsay, go get them. It's wild. They all got to hoist that cup, but hoisting his two boys there, that's a moment.
Means more than anything. That's right. They're up way past their bedtimes, and they'll look back on this. They'll see the pictures.
But it's also a human moment because the wife is probably saying, I dealt with the kids all night. Here, you take it.
Your turn.
You were out there just having fun, skating around. I was busy.
The anxiety of watching the game plus those two little cherubs. Yes, that would be.
We want to head back out on the streets. Jackie Benson is on the outskirts in Chinatown at 6th and 8th Streets. Are you seeing a mass exodus where you are, Jackie?
Oh my gosh, we're seeing a mass exodus of people leaving bars and restaurants and Capital One Arena. And take a look. Photographer Matthew Murray, a big Caps fan since childhood, I will tell you, is showing you a live picture of what it looks like there at the Chinatown Arch. People have turned over and knocked over the barriers that DC police set up. We've seen buses trying to get through here, ambulances trying to get through here. It is controlled chaos at this point as hundreds and hundreds of Caps fans start flowing into this intersection. Everybody in a fantastic mood. But I can tell you that nobody is moving anywhere at this point. I'm going to right now just be quiet and let you all take a little look and a little listen. It is absolutely It is absolutely unbelievable here. We're seeing and talking to a lot of people who are lifelong Caps fans, lifelong Washington sports fans, and there's just a feeling out here that I think is going to be going on for quite a long time this evening. Now, what I can tell you is luckily we've had no reports of any injuries or anything like that. Some minor things, a young man transported for a nosebleed, but other than that, things are still relatively controlled at this point. Live at 6th and H Northeast, Jackie Benson, News 4, back to you.
I think hockey players get bloody noses like every 5 minutes, that's nothing, right?
And it is wonderful, isn't it, to have something like this to celebrate. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican or anything else. We can all come together and be exuberant about something like this. Let's go back to Las Vegas, see who Lindsay Zarniak's got now. Here's Laura Zeller.
Awesome feeling, and now I can't wait to share this with everyone.
that moment where you and Ovechkin embrace each other after the game, I was dying to know what you guys were saying to one another because it's been so long for you two together trying to make this happen. What were you saying?
We were swearing a lot, so I don't know if I want to say that on TV, but we just, it was a great feeling. We just hugged each other, and finally we did it. So we're so happy about this and happy we did it together.
Thanks, Nick. Okay.
Not Laura Zeller.
Well,
That was
Nicholas
Nicholas
Backstrom.
Nick
Backstrom. You got
Backstrom,
that?
Ovi's right-hand man. I'm going to go find Ovi, guys. I'll be back.
Oh, boy. That's the
Okay.
big get. Okay, Lindsay, thanks so much. I like that swearing a lot. These were positive swear words, you know?
I
Happy
think so.
swears.
Yeah, I think so. We're not going to repeat them on television.
No, but it worked. It
we'll read
worked.
about it
That's the
maybe on
bottom
Twitter.
line.
And just a hunch, but I think a few people in that crowd out there were
Yeah.
probably saying the
Yeah.
same thing as
You
well.
know
But
they were.
but
It
in
is
a good way. But
incredible.
you know, Jackie just made a point about that crowd, and everybody's having such a fun time. As I walked out of the games I covered last Saturday and Monday, the crowds were still kind of out there, and you hail a cab at 1 in the morning on a Saturday. It's not always a pleasant thing. But instead, I get in the cab, and I said, "How's it going tonight?" And he says, "Oh, fine. Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy." So it does change the mood of the city. And
There's some
look at
happy
that,
right there.
Right, look
Hey,
at
we
that
want to
face.
head back down to
Whoa.
Doug and Leon. Oh, boy. He's got the suds going there. Hey, Leon, you said it before. A lot of people are going to be taking tomorrow off. It's going to be a long night. It is already Friday.
It is going to be a long night because this street is still filling up. I don't know where Jackie was talking about, where she is on the other side of this block. I think those folks are all going around and making their way over here because this area is still filling up. I've counted 6 Stanley Cups out here.
Yep.
1 Uncle Sam. This place is just really just off the chain. It's ridiculous.
How many people are working tomorrow?
You guys gonna?
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. You know, we've been talking about this and just how much this means to the city, how much this means to everybody around here. I know we've got so many people that have been waiting for this, but there's so many new fans out there too that this is going to resonate with forever. I know my son is watching right now. I know my daughter is out there. My wife, who was not a hockey fan, they're there as well. And take a look. I mean, this is the picture that they'll be able to see. Ovechkin holding up the cup. This is something they will remember forever.
I got news for you, buddy. I'd say about 1/5 of this crowd weren't hockey fans before this week. So a lot of people are all of a sudden getting that switch flipped. And it's been a phenomenon to actually watch this whole thing unfold right in front of us. We were talking off camera before you guys came to us. Vegas is nice. Vegas is a great place to hang out. I wouldn't want to be any other place than right here tonight.
So true, and I was hoping.
More special here in this town than it could any place else.
Yeah, it would have been great to go to Vegas, obviously, but to see it here, to see it back here in our city, to see everybody, this is a sea of red all the way down on both sides, guys. This is just something that you don't see. We have not been a championship city for a long time, one of the longest droughts of a city, and we've got it now with the Stanley Cup.
I talked to someone a little while ago who was saying they haven't seen crowds like this in our streets since the Women's March.
Yeah.
And we know how many people that brought to town. There may be 50,000 people in this area here, this, I don't know, 5-6 square block area. This is really phenomenal, and it just it's getting louder and louder and getting better and better. Some of these folks here, some wouldn't admit the fact that they got a little nervous when they were down 2-3. A couple of folks did admit it.
Yeah.
And everything, they said the same thing. Oh, no, don't tell me, here we go again. We've seen this movie before.
Right.
However, these guys actually came through just the way these folks in this area.
And we had the wings again. I mean, come on.
You're not getting MVP over this, buddy.
Jim, you had some.
I did.
Indigestion,
I'll
maybe.
get in on that, too.
MVP, no.
All right, guys, we just saw a shot of a fire engine, and it had fans waving flags up there. How incredible was that? Doreen, can we say the word parade yet? Can we say
Yes,
it without
we can
jinxing?
say it
It's
now.
over. There's that fire
Yes,
truck.
we can say it.
Now you can say it.
But we don't know what day, what the plans are, because nobody's been willing to share that information before tonight.
It's going to rival this even, though. You got to think even more. This is just amazing. Look at that.
Well, we need a parade.
Wow, we
need
do.
a parade
Because
because
fire engines are red, right? Look at that.
Yes.
Oh, she's right on him. Lindsay is right behind Ovi right now. She's going to work. Hey, they know each other. They're friends. He's going to talk to her.
I think that was Ovi's wife we saw standing next to him there.
If not, we have another story, but we know. But I think you're right about that.
Oh, he's holding his. Is that his MVP trophy, or is
yeah,
that?
That's
the
with
cup.
Stanley
That's
Cup,
the cup.
yeah.
Yeah, the cup. Okay.
How cool is it that everybody's name is engraved on the Stanley Cup for all
forever.
time?
Yeah.
Well, hockey is just traditions like that. The handshake line that we witnessed at the end of the game as these players compete at an incredible level over a series of games, and at times it gets a little
Violent?
bit chippy and violent. It might be another word. And then there's a respect that they have for one another for the level of competition. So hockey, of all the sports, probably has some of the greatest traditions, and certainly maybe arguably has the greatest trophy in the Stanley Cup.
You talk about mutual respect there. You saw that with Ovi and Fleury tonight.
No,
the little smiles back and forth, kind of cat and mouse there.
As the game started, Ovechkin tapped Fleury. Fleury got mad and slashed him. This is before the game, in pregame warm-ups. But at the end, that mutual respect remains. As we look at Ovechkin, all I can think about is Lindsay had the great interview in our Geico Quest for the Cup pregame show. Right. You know, he was drafted in 2004. And really, this town started to change in the 2007-2008 season, which was not a good season at the beginning. If you remember, they fired the coach on Thanksgiving, which was not fun. Right. They started on an amazing run that season, but then all that playoff disappointment had us believing, all right, well, we're not allowed to have good things in this town. And now my buddy John Walton on the radio, he started the tweet, "It's okay to believe," during the Penguins series. Well,
that
now
sort of caught on, didn't it?
It did catch on, and now it's okay to scream and shout and ride fire engines.
Heck yeah! And we're all believers tonight, aren't we?
Look at that scene. No sign of anybody heading for the Metro.
No let up just yet.
No, this was not the most talented Capitals team, and that's the lesson else you take away from this. That you get a group together that really believes in that common goal and works for one another and supports each other. Look what happens.
And you know, Doreen was pointing out, everybody got a goal, it seemed like, in this series.
No.
So, I mean, not the most talented, but they had some bench.
Right, not the most talented on paper, but it didn't matter because on ice and how they played together.
They had heart.
Exactly.
You know,
they did have heart.
They had heart. We should make that a song. You got to have a heart. That could catch on as that could be also another hashtag. But in all seriousness, you're exactly right. And I think they were feeding off, certainly the main heartbeat on this team was Alex Ovechkin and his drive and desire after 13 years of being told that, okay, it's great and you really don't care enough and you don't want it enough. Well, he showed throughout this season and especially this postseason journey how much he cared about the town and the Capitals.
Oh, I think we've got Pat Collins once again, Elvis in the desert. Pat, what are you finding now?
Well, I tell you, I got to be impressed with all of the Cap fans that made that financial sacrifice to come out here to see the Caps make history and win that Stanley Cup. They came out here because they wanted to be able to say they were there when it happened, and they got it. They got a memory. They got a memory that's not going to stay in Vegas. They got a memory that they can take back to Washington, a memory that will last for a lifetime. And it's something, it's sports history in our city. And I was really impressed by the way they represented themselves out here for this fifth game. The other thing,
I don't think Pat can hear us, but
Pat, Lindsay's about to get Alex Ovechkin. Here we go.
Yeah, Lindsay.
All right, Alex, tell me, you've dreamt about this for so long. What was going through your mind as time was winding down?
It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable feelings. It's, I don't know what to say, you know, like, oh, sorry. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. It's something special.
And when you were carrying that Stanley Cup around the ice, the moment where you talked to Backstrom, I mean, what was that like? What were you guys sharing?
We finally did it. I'm just happy for me and for him, for all the guys, you know. It's been a hard time. It's been a long time, and we're waiting, and we just keep pushing, and we did it.
You've talked a lot about your brother who passed away when you were younger. I know what an influence he was on your childhood, and how. What does that mean to you right now, and what do you think he would be saying?
All my family who passed away, I knew they watching us, and they watching me. They support us from above, and you know, I'm pretty sure they're happy and they're very smiling and very, very excited too.
And taking it back to DC. So guys, whoa! someone, man down.
Hey, Lindsay, you know, we heard your interviews yesterday with Ovi and how chill and almost zen he was, but he was laser focused tonight, wasn't he? He was flying across that ice.
He was, and I'll tell you what, like, I feel as though, you know, when they were down, people kept saying they got to come out in that third period like this is it. And it starts with him, you know, and that's what he did when he came out. But you're right, and you can see the relief in his face, right? When he was just talking to us right there, you can just see the world of frustration, and he finally did it because, you know, he'll tell you, I mean, that obviously has been his goal since he came into this league, but just awesome. And awesome to see all these people around him, and that's why there's so much joy in that, because everyone knows how badly he wanted it, and it started to look like it wasn't a certainty.
Hey, I know you are a Washington native. We all know that, Lindsay, and you got to see a game here at the arena. What was it like for you tonight to see this after covering them for so many years?
My heart was beating. I believe the hockey gods wanted to keep us on our toes, because what happened was in the beginning, I was like, all right, you know, this is nerve-wracking. And then when they were down, at some point, we're like, all right, we're probably going back to Washington. So it kind of calmed me. And then when this happened again, I just like, I don't know, man. I couldn't breathe. And look at this little nugget. Like, all these kids, that's Beagles family. This is just amazing.
I think what you're describing, Lindsay, is what we were all feeling. They really made us work hard this time. The Monday night's game, the 6-2, they look like a different team. Tonight they really put us through it, but they came through in the end.
They did. Beagle. I mean, how proud are you, Mr. Beagle?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, yeah.
What was it like you watched?
I lived through it.
Really? Describe, what was it like?
Oh, it was hard to watch. That was terrible hard to watch, but it was, I mean, it's awesome. It's just awesome to have that done, and to win it, unbelievable. I don't even know what to say, really.
Jay, did you find your wife yet?
You and me both, I did. Yeah, I found her.
The rest of the family, too.
Yeah, we
okay.
I don't know.
We went for a lot.
Wow, well, we got two future hockey players here, I can tell.
That's a proud grandpa awesome. Beagle there.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. No doubt. All right, we're going to go meander here and see.
All right, and still looking for Ted Leonsis. All right, the owner, and how proud is he tonight? 1999 is when he took over the team?
Yes, took over the team, and of course now it created Monumental Sports Entertainment, which owns both the Capitals and the Washington Wizards. And you know, he had a tough road as an owner initially. If you remember, he brought in another generational player in Jaromir Jagr, if you all remember that.
We do,
in the early part.
Very expensive.
Very expensive player, and it was his desire and passion to want to, all right, Jaromir Jagr always beat the Capitals with the Penguins. If you can't beat them, join them or bring the guy over.
Or buy him.
He did. It was hoping that would work out. It didn't work out. So they rebooted, if you will, after the Jaromir Jagr experiment, and that's when they drafted Alex Ovechkin, and that put the franchise on a different course. But, you know, what we're seeing happen tonight and will happen in the next coming days in our city.
I think we've got Holtby right now. Let's check in with Holtby.
Was there a point where you were nervous?
No, I mean, I don't know about nerves. You know, nerves aren't so much. It was a tough day. This day was really tough because time change, you're up early, 5 o'clock game, you don't go to the rink to skate. You're basically just sitting in a hotel all day thinking. So that's as tough as it can get, and our group battled through that, and you know, we came through.
Wait, so what did that look like for you sitting in your hotel room thinking? Because how do you not think about tonight and what you're about to try to do?
Yeah, I mean, you just
who's this?
This is my daughter and my son, Belle and Ben.
And here's
Mr. Stevenson.
Are you? Precious little ones.
We did it. So proud for you. So proud for you. I believe it.
So how'd you pass the time? What'd you do?
You know, you go through your, trying anything that takes your mind off it. You know, reading, play a little guitar or something. You go and hang out with the guys a bit. Anything to get your mind just quieted down, and you know, it's you learn how to deal with those things throughout your career.
Was it hard to deal with, you know, the atmosphere here? Just how incredibly loud that is, how intense it gets?
Yeah, I mean, rinks are loud. I think it's a little artificial here at times with pumped through the stereo system and stuff, so you have to deal with that because you can feel the bass rumbling during the, in between whistles, which you can't feel in most rinks. So you battle through that, you take it for what it is, and you just refocus for the next one.
So many of you guys talked about this group and how incredible this group of guys was. So what is it like to get this win with this team?
It's amazing. I'm going to be completely honest right here. I can't wait to share it with them. All we've been doing is talking to media. So I'm ready to get down. I'm ready to see my teammates.
All right, go do that.
Go back
And
and
that's our
rebond.
cue.
Hey, Lindsay, he was
like,
not.
all right, so we're gonna.
He was not MVP,
Nah,
but you could argue that Holtby literally saved this series time after time.
Yeah, he had a couple of games in particular where it was quite evident that he was standing on his head, so to speak, in hockey speak. But yeah, very impressive. And now he's getting to enjoy that moment with his family and friends.
Good
but
stuff.
Yeah, it's quite amazing.
All right, Lindsay, we'll get back to you in a minute. Right now, we want to take another look
sounds great.
from the air at the scene in downtown around the arena. Brad Freitas is in Chopper 4. What do you tell us about what you've been seeing tonight, Brad?
Unbelievable. I grew up just outside the Beltway in Sterling, Virginia, and I've been a long-time sports fan of D.C. teams, and, the Redskins have it's been a tough few years for them, and the Caps, my brother and I have followed this team for a number of years now, and he said when he found out that I was going to be flying over D.C., he said, wow, that's really great, but you're not going to be able to watch the game. Well, let me tell you, I did get to watch the game, and I had it on a little tiny monitor up here in Chopper 4 as we were watching from above at the Capital One Arena. And we were not able to get into this airspace for the past 17 years, but we're able to bring you these shots tonight. Some incredible images from outside Capital One Arena of the thousands and thousands. We're estimating probably between 15 and 20,000 people at one point made their way through these streets outside the Capital One Arena. The pilot, Bobby, and I were discussing how many people were down there because it was just an unbelievable sea of red, and everyone was just losing their minds when they were watching these big screens. You can see there right next to the Capital One Arena sign, you can see one of those screens, and there's another one up top. And just packed to the gills. Right there in the center of the screen is the portrait gallery steps. And no one that has been there all night has left. Those are still jam-packed. People continue to wave their arms in the air and sing and chant. And you really get an idea when you're up in Chopper 4 of body language when you look down in scenes like this. So you can just see the people and the happiness that's in their face, with this incredibly powerful HD camera we have here on Chopper 4. This Cineflex camera, I can zoom all the way in and see facial expressions of these fans who came out to see an away game. The Capitals aren't even here tonight. They're in Las Vegas.
I know, it's
just
great.
Imagine. Brad, these have been incredible pictures.
We love it.
We want to thank you, and we hope that you're back up there for the parade in the coming days. For long-timers like us, we have not seen pictures like these.
Let's go down to, this is John Carlson talking to Lindsay Zarniak.
The way that we worked through things this year, and, people were, saying we weren't going to be great this year, and we just worked through certain situations and, won our division, won the Eastern Conference, and then won the Stanley Cup. So it's a lot, but, I think this team did a lot this year to deserve all those accolades.
Been part of this group for a while. Does it get to the point where there are doubts at CFAN, like, are we ever going to get it done?
Yeah, I think we played great at other times and maybe deserved better, but certainly this year had a different feeling, and we just rode the wave, and we got hot at the right time, and everyone was stepping up throughout our whole lineup, and that's what it takes this time of year to be successful, and we're just thrilled to be a part of this whole thing.
What was the message before the third period?
I like the way we were playing in the first two, so we didn't want to change much. I think they had the timely goals for sure, and that's why we were in that position. But we've always had an answer this year, and tonight was no different.
John, who'd you pass the cup to, and was there significance behind who you chose?
Holtz. It's just kind of a pecking order type of deal, but it was it was cool to pass it to someone that we've been through a lot together, and I got it from Beeks too. So two of my good friends, best friends, and we've all worked through Hershey and here together, and it's special to share it.
John, you mentioned Holtby. When you look at this series, there seem to be two defining moments of two empty nets. One where he made the save, and one where they had an open net in Game 4 and hit the post. There's so many series before, years before, where it seemed to go the other way against you guys. Is that fair?
Yeah, you got to work for your breaks, though, and like I said, I think we had a feeling this year, and we just rode the momentum that we had, and worked for everything that we got, and it was that was kind of our MO, and we stuck to it, and no matter what the score, up the series, down the series, we were sticking to it.
That's John Carlson, and that's his little girl he's holding, saying she wants to go home. We sort of got that feeling. He's got during these playoffs, he became a father for the second time. He's got a new baby, less than a month old, I think.
And we talk about all these players. They are in our community. He's a neighbor of yours.
He is.
You see him quite often.
Yeah, I don't see him very often.
Not as often as you'd like. Jogging down the street.
I try stalking him, but I don't usually get to find him.
But his daughter looked like she was glad to finally see him, and I think that it's neat to see these kids because they're like saying, "This is when we get our daddy back," because they've been away and so focused, and also the look on her face was like, "Do you have to go through this every night? All these questions?"
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it's like enough already. So she was cutting off the interview, which
part of the job.
Good, yeah.
All right. Hey, we want to head back out to Shamari Stone. He is in the thick of it once again, and he's got the headset on right now. Hey, Shamari, what's it like around? Boy, it looks like a little chaos around.
Well, I have a headset on right now. Because it is so loud. I just want to show you this. This is the Washington Post. It says, finally. You can see all these fans behind me. They are incredibly excited. They have waited years for this. You can see this guy actually has a Stanley Cup right here. But guess what? Ovechkin and the team, they're going to bring home the real Stanley Cup here to D.C. Tell me, how are you feeling right now?
I am so excited. It's unreal. It's unreal in D.C. tonight.
Were you concerned that maybe the Caps may have lost this game?
Never for a second. Not for a minute. It was great. It was a great game.
She's happy. Everyone's happy. We haven't seen any major violent incidents.
There we go. Devontae Smith-Pelly. He scored tonight with Lindsay.
Walk me through as the moments ticked down. What was that like for you?
That was the longest 2 minutes ever. I mean, there's a lot of icings, and the clock wasn't working, and so much going on. It was. It felt like it was 10 minutes. But as soon as the clock ran out, it's kind of a blur, just jumping into the pile, and just so happy for everyone.
Have you seen any images of what's going on back in Washington, D.C.?
No, but I could imagine. I've been out here, but I'm going to go back. I know on my phone I'm going to see a lot of videos, and I can't wait to get home.
How much pride do you guys have in that accomplishment and doing it for this franchise for the first time in so long?
Amazing. I mean, the fans have waited a long time. They pack the arena every night, and it's been a lot of heartbreak, but it was all worth it.
You kind of called it that you'd be invited to the White House, right, before. Tell me, were you surprised by, as much as that was picked up?
No, not really, but not too worried about that right now. I'm just going to enjoy the night and see what happens.
All right, Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith-Pelly talking to Lindsay Zarniak. Just take a moment to let it sink in a little bit. We have a national championship team in Washington. We haven't 25 years. I'm
looking at all those youngsters around Shamari. They don't know the weight that everybody here our age had to go through.
Well,
my goodness.
I was young when the Bullets won. Right. I was young once. I was young when the Bullets won the championship in 1978. So you get this feeling like, well, it's going to happen again. Exactly. And we did have the Redskin moment, so I don't want to minimize that as well. But then it became a long wait where, again, your psyche starts to change. And again, as we see these pictures and Shamari's talking with people, and it reminds me, my son Pierce went to the game Saturday, and he said the guy next to him was telling him his life story. So suddenly everybody's opening up and talking about their experiences. I've waited this long, I've waited that long. I miss my wife now. It's changing the psyche of the city.
Let's listen in on some of the reactions after the game.
Well, the fact that Brad said he could see the body language from Chopper 4. You know, An Yang was in the arena, another packed house again. She was there tonight on Twitter. She's not going to sleep. She's just going to be on a high coming in here at 4 a.m.
You know, I think I saw her from one of the chopper shots there on the steps at the portrait gallery. We'll be right back with more of our coverage. Stay with us.
At home, you can have a seat now. We can have a seat finally. But out there, they are still on their feet. Let's check in once again with Doug and Leon. Leon, no thinning of the crowd around you yet, huh?
No, actually it is starting to thin out. The cops have told folks they got to clear out of here in about 10 minutes, but not before they came out to share some of their goodies. All right, we've seen this headline a second ago with Shamari.
Love it.
But you haven't seen this yet. Here we go. The official Stanley Cup Championship T-shirt, given it to us by a very, very trusting Caps fan sitting over here to the side.
2018 champion. I mean, it's just amazing. Here you go, guys. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Nicely done. I mean, the fact that we just won this championship, the fact that we're bringing the Stanley Cup home. Somebody told me here, you know, who's been a fan for a long time, we are the first team to ever win a championship in Vegas, no matter what sport it was. In Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How about that?
I hadn't thought about that. That's a great point. That makes it even more special.
We got the cup. We got the cup. And that's been the chant. We've been hearing it all week. It's been we want the cup. Now it's about we got the cup.
Speaking of Vegas, let's go back out to Vegas right now because Lindsay's already got a chance to finally catch up with Ted Leon since we've been waiting for that for a while. Lindsay.
Okay, it's not the end of the world. Let's do it again. And I really admire the team for coming back this year. I'd say most people didn't think we'd be a Stanley
Ted Leon says.
But to a man early in the year, summed up beautifully, I thought, by Alex when he said, what, you think we're going to suck? Yeah. That was
It's great to see you. You can use the parade word now, right? You get your parade.
You know, all week they've been asking, do you want to talk about it, plan about it, and it's no. But now we have to do some serious thinking because I think it's going to be much bigger than everyone's expecting. And we want to be able to say thank you to the people in Virginia and Maryland and Washington, D.C., federal Washington, D.C., and my goal is to create something that elevates and unites all of the people in our community so that people think good things, happy thoughts, positive thoughts about Washington, D.C.
So what's that going to look like?
I haven't thought through yet what it's going to be, but we'll try to make it very, very family-oriented. I think what I want to do is make sure that it's not just the players, but it's their mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters. I mean, it takes a village for every one of these young men and all of the people that work in the organization and the things that wives suffer from all the time that, well, I mean, it's so much time because it's not only a day job, you're going to the games. Tonight was my 30th playoff game, 6 with the Wizards and then 4 series with the Caps. All that traveling, I mean, it takes its toll. And so I want to make sure that it's the moms and dads and wives and brothers and sisters, that they all understand how empathetic and grateful we are for everything they contribute to us.
What has this run been like for you?
It's been honestly very, very calm. I had a really, really good vibe about the team. I don't want to say I predicted, but when we were down 2-0 and there was some anxiety, I said, we're going to win the cup. And people laughed at me and they said, well, you're always optimistic. And I said, no, watch. I went in the locker room. They weren't panicked. There was a calmness about the team and a
Tonight,
fortitude.
you mean?
No,
or you mean during the
entire playoff run. And I think we clinched every series on the road. And, you know, this is a very, very jumping, hostile place. And for us to close it out here, it's such an unbelievable organization that Bill Foley, George McPhee built here. You know, they're going to be around a long, long time and be good for a long, long time. And we're very grateful for the great treatment that they showed us, and they should be very, very proud of what they built.
Well, when you look at this video, can you see we're showing him video, guys, of the streets of Washington?
You know, it's it honestly is what I envisioned, and you know, as I've said, that I thought we had the best hockey fans, the best fans in the world, and all I ever wanted to do was build a team that was as good as the fan base, and we can finally say best fans in the world and best hockey team in the world, and they deserve it on an ongoing basis. I mean, I'm proud that we've had a generationally really good team, and now we've won a cup. I think that monkey is off our back, and we'll take a couple of days to enjoy it, and then we'll start thinking, what do we have to do to be really great again next year, make the playoffs, and as we saw, anything can happen in the playoffs.
I think you can take more than a couple of days, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe a nice long vacation would be good.
Or maybe you take your wife on a nice long vacation.
Well, we'll do that, but to be honest, the next couple of weeks is going to be all about the fans, all about the city, all about the players. The amount of respect that the Stanley Cup as a trophy has is indescribable and like no other sport. And so we have a lot of work to do and programming to do on who gets to spend quality time with the Cup, how do we get our season ticket holders, our sponsors, all the VIPs that helped us. But mostly I want to make sure, just like we brought all the employees out to games, our employees have worked really hard. They're a big part of our success, and I want to make sure that they get the recognition and gratitude they deserve.
It's going to be an interesting situation with what's going on right now at the White House, and you just made me think about it with, you know, the uninviting of the Eagles, that situation. And I know Devontae obviously made news when he said that he intended not to go. How do you handle that situation with your team, and how do you help them navigate what's going to happen?
I've been living in the moment, and to be honest, someone mentioned that to me today, and I hadn't even watched the news, and so I'll process all of that after we get back tomorrow, and we'll start doing our planning, and we'll figure it out.
Thank you, Ted.
Greg.
Just want to say congrats, man. Hey, Lindsay,
Ted
let's
Leonsis
talk a
there
little bit
enjoying.
about. You have known Ted Leonsis for years and interviewed him multiple times. That's the face of relief there. He is so gracious, talking about George McPhee and all,
Yeah.
and he's a generous owner. The players love him. The fans love him. He's so approachable.
Yes, he is. I mean, he's someone that they truly admire, you know. But I do, that last question, he wasn't happy with it. But he made me think about it, because it is going to be an interesting situation, guys, especially the fact that he's talking about this massive parade in Washington. It's going to be amazing, right? But that's something that we're seeing so much in sports right now, and the fact that that's transitioning to hockey, it's a story you can't ignore, right? So I'm genuinely curious about that, and I think it's something that is going to come up a lot as we head towards this celebrating of the Stanley Cup.
Right.
Well,
and
but
it's
he's right,
just been
tonight's about the
reignited
Cup,
again
right?
with the NFL, so it's certainly not going away. You're exactly right, Lindsay.
Well, it seems like Ted Leonsis and a lot of other people are hoping to not think about politics and anger tonight, and just want to focus on
It's
the
kind of a
positive.
unifying night, isn't it?
It is.
And, you know,
it is.
we've been showing you shots right behind us from downtown D.C. around Ted Leonsis's big house there, if we will. But he mentioned the DMV. We've got parties in Bethesda, Arlington, all over our area breaking out, too. Everybody's
And
celebrating.
pretty wonderful to hear how he wants to include our whole region and also all the families and all the people who have played a part in this big win tonight. So more details coming soon, we hope, about plans for a parade. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Stay with us. Another live look from way up in Chapter 4 of the crowd, still not thinning out right around the Capital One Arena. And those are the steps of the Portrait Gallery, and people with a lot to celebrate tonight.
Well, the crowd has certainly thinned out in Las Vegas, but the players and the coach, Barry Trotz, who we have not heard from, is speaking right now. Let's listen in. He's now a free agent.
For a long stretch, I think two things happened. I think it reset him. Got him back to his foundations. He's a blue-collar guy from Saskatchewan, and I think that got him back to a lot of those foundations and get him, acutely focused. And then, you know, with Holtz, I think, you know, we had a conversation, and he was very respectful. He understood that he wasn't going to start in the playoffs, but he said, you know, if I get a chance to go back in, I'm going to be really good for you. And he was. And I think also when you get reset, you get a little bit of a break, because he's a guy that puts a lot into his craft. You see the preparation before games. And he didn't have to play as much, too. So that might have been the difference.
Last question, Pierre, left side, fourth row.
Barry, I let out a giggle earlier when you said.
All right, there you have the coach, the winning coach, Barry Trotz, as we look at another live picture above that huge crowd of tens of thousands. I think we want to leave people with the sights and sounds. We've been talking about that hashtag all caps for weeks now. The Caps have taken it all tonight, Doreen.
We can believe, we can really believe now. They've done it. They've won the Stanley Cup. We have a national championship team here in Washington for the first time in more than 2 decades. Feels pretty good to have something like this to celebrate, doesn't it?
Well worth waiting for, wouldn't you say, Dave?
Washington, D.C. will go to bed as a championship city if it goes to bed. And I think the key is it will never be the same.
Some people won't.
Look for a crowd like that at a parade coming up within days. We heard from Ted Leonsis. They don't know details, but you can imagine it's going to be big. Nothing like we've seen thus far. Try to get to sleep tonight. I know it's going to be tough.
Good night.
Cup is all.
Comes on back. Orpik threw one around it. Freshman Pelly scores! Devon